Who is the most determined out of me and you?
Oh.
What are the differences? That's kind of an unfair question, guys.
I would say that actually Chelsea and I are equally determined. However, I would say that okay, so I think Chelsea and I are equally determined, but I think that we have some differences in how we handle the mental aspects of how we approach things.
Yeah. Sarah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that it's fair to say that you see the session on your schedule, and no matter how you're feeling or how it's going or the numbers that you see on the clock or on the power meter or whatever, you feel like you should just get it done. Like there's a lot of value into getting the session done. If you're not having like a great day, you're not hitting your numbers, there's still a massive mental benefit from kind of pushing through, because in a race scenario, you might not be feeling good and you might not be seeing the numbers that you want, but you still need to just commit and do your best. And doing that in training is good practice for doing that in racing.
I do feel that very strongly.
You feel that? Yeah, you feel that very strongly. I feel like that is the case in most scenarios. However, I think that if you're trying to get a very specific training stimulus out of a session, like if it's a VO2 max session, for instance, it's a very specific number that you're supposed to be hitting. There's a very specific training stimulus that you're supposed to be getting. If for some reason you're like really tired that day, or it's just not happening, you're like way off, I think that there are times when it's beneficial to just call it a day and do that session in a day or two when you can actually get the physiological stimulus out of the session. That being said, I am more emotional when it comes to my training than Sarah probably is. Like I get more frustrated and upset sometimes when I'm not performing up to my sometimes impossible expectations.
This is true. I do a really good job. I would say I do a good job of if things just don't go well, I'm like disappointed, of course, but I'm like, okay, well, things just didn't go well today. And Chelsea has a harder time with it, but she's working on it.
I don't do a very good job over that.